Do you love the Bachelor franchise?
Ah, the romance, the adventure, the drama.
But do you also kind of hate the Bachelor franchise?
Oh yeah, the sexism, the racism, the intense heteronormativity of it all.
Here at Date Card, we're just two obsessed queerdos who love to dissect, talk shit, and get blocked by problematic contestants.
Yeah, we're here for the good, the bad, and the Chad of it all.
You can find us on So Below Media, iTunes, and Spotify. Please accept this rose!
A Playlist original.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Torry, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode of RTBP. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I have two very special guests. As per usual, I say that every week, and I mean it, but I have Dawn and Cher from My Super Sweet 16 on MTV, Exiled, and Smothered on TLC, and we're chatting about mother-daughter relationships, their experiences with reality TV, and how they form such a close, tight-knit bond together. It's a big love fest. They were so nice and authentic and real and exactly what you would expect from them from the TV show. So it was really nice to get to know them a little bit more. But I do want to say that is also a content warning. I know that mother-daughter relationships can sometimes be difficult, any parent-child relationship in particular. So, if that's a sensitive topic for you, just take care of yourselves. We just talk about, how the possibilities of being close to your mom is really special, but I totally get that that's not a reality for everybody. So just wanted to give a little bit of a warning up front. I am somewhere in Europe right now. So this was pre-recorded at the end of September. One last update and then we'll get to the show. This Thursday on the Patreon, patreon.com/RTBP podcast. I am talking to one of my best friends from high school, Kenzie Cates, and we're talking about Taylor Swift's feuds, but where there was like a call and response video. So think John Mayer, Kanye West, Katy Perry, where they both had songs about each other. So that's going to be super fun. That'll be out on Thursday on my Patreon. Okay, let's get to the show. Here is my conversation with Cher and Dawn. I'm back with two very special guests, Cher and Dawn from TLC's Smothered, but previously on My Super Sweet 16 and Exiled. Cher and Dawn, how are you both doing?
We're great. Yeah, so excited to be here and chatting with you.
Yes.
Can't wait to get into it.
Nice. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about your podcast, because you are both podcast hosts? What can people expect if they tune into Chattermouth?
Definitely. Yes, our podcast is called Chattermouth Podcast because my mom and I just chatter all the time. It's a mother and daughter podcast. However, we talk about everything and anything, and nothing is off limits between my mom and I. We talk about anything from relationships to sex to current events, and we interview some of the most amazing people with such interesting stories. And on every episode, you get some advice, some motherly advice from our guests and from ourselves. And honestly, we're just here to let you in on our lives behind the TV shows that we've been on, so that our fans and followers can just really get to know us on a whole new level.
And also you get different perspectives of a 60-year-old woman and a 32-year-old woman.
Yeah.
So different ideas, different viewpoints on things.
Yes.
That's so cool. And do you find, because you are in different age brackets, but obviously I'm sure a lot of Dawn's wisdom and advice has passed down to you, Cher, but do you find that, and I might, spoiler alert, might know the answer to this, but do you find that you agree on most topics, or do you learn something from each other?
I feel like we're always learning from each other, honestly. We are
I
very
do too.
similar, but like also very different. My mom is my mom's obsessed with skincare, and she teaches me everything I know about skincare, and also tells our viewers all about it. I mean, my mom's in her 60s, and she looks wonderful. And she's always teaching me new things, and I'm always teaching her new things about like social media, about current events. And so I think having that understanding from someone who's older and feels like she's been there, done that, and me, I'm going through motherhood right now. We definitely, I learn a lot from my mom, but sometimes we butt heads as well. And we try not to like hide anything and try to just be as real as we can be, especially on our podcast, because that's kind of like our safe zone. It's our time where we can just talk about anything, and like we have our cup of coffee, no interruptions, and we just chat, and we love it.
What about, you mentioned like nothing's off limits? I feel like we're kind of jumping into it already, but what do you suggest for like parent-child relationships, or like how do you get to a point where you're comfortable talking about anything?
I think it really starts from the beginning. You communicate, you let your daughter or your son speak to you about anything and make them feel comfortable no matter what they come to you for. I mean, she spoke to me early about sex, and I didn't like say, oh, don't talk to me about that. And I said, I listened, even though inside I was like, oh boy, maybe a little too much, but I never said that to her. So I made her comfortable, and the more comfortable she got speaking to me, the more she spoke more about things to me.
And Cher, are those pieces that you're hoping to pass on to your daughter?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people might feel, especially after being on the show Smothered, a lot of people feel that my mom and I are just like too close. But in my opinion, there should never be like too close with your mom or your daughter. Like, your mom is the person who's been there for you through your worst times and hopefully cheered you on through your best times. And I love the relationship I have with my mom, and I just only hope I can have that, with my daughter as well. Like, my mom's my best friend. I talk to her about everything because I feel that there's like a no judgment zone with her. And I want my daughter to feel that she can come to me, even though maybe I'll be cringing inside when she asks me the questions that I used to ask my mom. Like, I came to her, I'm like, Mom, what's a blowjob? Like it's, and thinking back, like, how did she answer it without just cracking up? And like, I know I'll feel that way with my daughter, but I'd rather her come to me than go to her friends and maybe learn something not so good, or and so I want to be there to put her on the right path, as I feel that my mom did for me as well.
That's so nice.
Thanks.
So let's chat about how I first was introduced to you two. So you were both on My Super Sweet 16 on MTV, and I'm 30, so I was watching your season, like, we were around the same age, and like it took the world by storm. Like, it was so interesting. And I just remember I have two sisters, and we would, the Hillary Duff song would come on, and we would just and we would just like go absolutely crazy. It was we just like ate up every episode. So
did you watch my episode back in the day? That's so funny.
Oh, wow.
That.
It's yes. Okay, so the things, I'll tell you the things that I really remember. But I did rewatch it before this podcast. Yes. But the things that I really remember are when you went to school with the invitation.
Yeah. Yes.
I that just like stuck out in my head. Like, out of all of like you were in season 4, both of you were in season 4, and like that stuck out like within all of the seasons.
So
like
cool.
It was just so wild. And then I definitely remember the Mardi Gras theme. That really also did stick out. And yeah, I just think like and you talk about this a little bit also with Exiled, which is the next show that you were on, but like how the show, tried to play up like very spoiled children. I don't think you came off spoiled. Like, I think that that's the thing that I really enjoy about you two is, like, obviously you came from a privileged, wealthy background, but you both come off so down to earth, so grateful for the life that you live. And even when I was rewatching the show, yeah, just like the liveliness of your family and yeah, the episode, it was just, it really stayed with me.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. That's so sweet. You know, it was actually very scary going on this show. I remember I was going to be having this big birthday party anyways, and I had seen MTV's My Super Sweet 16, and I was like, you know, I always thought it'd be so fun to like do something in front of the camera. I was having this big birthday party anyways. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to apply. And my dad was like, you'll never get on this show. So many people apply to be on it. And when I was actually cast in the show, he didn't want me to do the show because he was like, all these people are going to make you look so bad. All the other
and he says a lot of them are very spoiled and they're bratty, and that's not you, Cher. And we say, well, it's not going to show that way because she's not bratty and she's not spoiled. So, you know, we're going to be true to ourselves on the show.
And also, I wanted to show people, like, it's okay to have nicer things, but you don't have to, like, be a bratty about it. You don't have to be mean about it. You can be grateful and thankful, and you can, you know, have that as well. And so, well, we ended up doing the show. It was a wonderful experience, but I was so scared watching it. You never know what they're going to show or how they'll edit you or any of that. And it's crazy. They filmed with us for like 3 weeks straight, literally like 24/7.
They would be there when we wake up in the morning, like until we go to bed at night.
Yeah, like you have to pee and they're like waiting outside the door for you. Like it was constant, but they only show, it's like 23 minutes or something like that. And it's so little. So you just have no idea.
And we don't see it until the whole world sees it, you know, at the same time.
But it actually ended up being a very successful episode. And so because of that, because I was different and wasn't like every other Sweet 16er, they ended up wanting us to come back and be on Exiled. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. So you talk a little bit about, not being able to see it until it airs. This was in like the really beginning of reality TV. So I'm just curious, like, what were your thoughts at the time about reality TV? Did you know that it could springboard into like a lifelong career, or did you just want to have a fun experience?
Yeah, at the time it was just, you know, about my Sweet 16. It wasn't about anything else. Yeah, no, I had no idea. And like, it was so different back then. And there was only, I was on the 4th season, but somehow the show, it was still so big. Everyone remembers the episodes somehow. I'm 32 now, like 32, but people are still talking about what I did when I was 16, which is crazy.
And they recognize her even when she had blonde hair.
Yeah, I used to have blonde hair. I'm brunette. I'm 32, and people still are like, "You're that girl from Sweet 16." I'm like, "You're like," and people still judge you for something you did when you're 16 years old. I'm like, you know, it's crazy. I never would have expected that. Never.
Yeah, and Dawn, you talked a little bit about your husband's and like apprehension of having the TV show on. Was that just because, well, you said that because there had been 3 seasons prior, you kind of knew the reputation, but I'm just curious, like, were you also nervous because it was a group of teenagers and you two wouldn't have been there throughout the whole process? Like that giving up, I feel like my parents would not want a camera on me when I was 16. Let me tell you that.
I wasn't worried about Cher having a camera on her all the time because Cher is just a very sweet, good-natured, down-to-earth girl, and she just wanted this big party that I was planning anyway to have, and we were planning it together, so we were just looking at it in a very positive manner.
Also, my dad was very, at the time, like against it, and so I remember the way you used to apply is you had to fill out this whole long application, and then they had you take a video of yourself on like a VHS, and you had to like.
Do you remember those big camcorders?
Yes. So my mom followed me around. Yes, it was so like those huge camcorders. My mom followed me around the house, and I had to like give a tour of my house as if I was on MTV's Cribs. And then I had to send in this VHS tape through like snail mail. Just send it in. Like you couldn't just download it and send it. You had to like send it through the mail. It was like totally different back then.
We just did it together. I mean, my husband didn't help because he was, you know, he wasn't for it.
Right. And you can't edit it. Like there's no editing or anything back then. It's like what you see is what you get.
What you get.
It was just so different. Which I kind of love. Like that was just like how things used to be before YouTube, before any of that. So really cool.
Yeah, that is so cool. One of the big notable moments in the episode was the earrings shopping. And I watched both of your YouTube reaction videos to that scene, and I thought it was so interesting. So if listeners hadn't watched the episode, Dawn and Cher go shopping for like a special birthday gift. They choose a pair of $13,000 earrings, and it's so funny because I feel like, Cher, your reaction now was like, who would give a pair of that expensive of earrings to a child? It's just,
I lose everything.
It's really refreshing.
Yeah, it's because I lose everything, and I'm like, I appreciate that I love you, but I didn't deserve it because I lose everything, you know?
Well, I felt that it would go down generation. She would have it forever.
Yes.
And it's something, it's like an heirloom. It's just something very special. And, you know, some people love designer bags and other things. And I said, this was something she'll have. She could give to her daughter someday or, like that. So.
Yeah. Is that still the plan with the earrings?
Yeah, my daughter, luckily they have not been lost. They are, you know, I took good care of them. But yeah, I don't think any 16-year-old deserves $13,000 earrings. I appreciate it, but, you know, now that I'm older and I work and I make my own money, I appreciate things on like a whole new level. So,
One of my other questions was, and you both have already kind of mentioned that you were doing the planning together, but how many of the, like you had a musician, you had a dance routine, you had outfit changes, there was obviously the theme. How much of those were both of your ideas, and how much was that like production being like, well, we need it bigger, or this would be really showy, let's do something like this?
It was totally our idea. We planned the party totally together. She loved magic, so I said, hey, let's get a magician on it and learn the behind the scenes and let Cher be the assistant for the magician. So she learned all the tricks and the trades of a magician, and still won't tell to this day.
I have to give my mom so much credit though, because she really planned like most of it. She was the best. I was away on this like teen tour, and so I couldn't plan too much. My mom like did such an amazing job, but we really did it all together. And it was really special and fun, just like getting to plan this big party, and it was really so much fun doing it, for sure.
You know, it's fun doing something with your daughter, with your child, and it brings you even closer, you know, because you're planning it and you're saying your ideas and my ideas and how to make it work. And I love parties. You know, parties are fun, so why not?
And, you know, it's interesting. One of the questions I'm always asked by like viewers is, did MTV help pay for this Sweet 16? And MTV doesn't pay for anything. They don't pay us. They don't pay for the show or for the Sweet 16, anything. And back then, this was before Instagram, before YouTube, so nothing is sponsored or anything. And it was so real. And I think that's why they probably can't have the show now, because everything would be like sponsored, or, you know, you get the venue for free because it's on TV. But back then, it wasn't like that at all.
Right.
So it was like a real, true Sweet 16 birthday party that just happened to be on TV.
I love that. That's so cool. Do you plan on doing a big Sweet 16 for your daughter?
If she wants one, then definitely. I feel like I have to. I owe it to her that like I was given this amazing experience, these amazing memories, that if I'm, if that's something that she wants, then, definitely my mom and me and Belle, my daughter, will all be planning it together.
That's for sure.
I love that. Yes. I mean,
that. Cher had a beautiful big wedding after that. I mean, that was even unbelievable. And we planned that together. So that was special.
That's so fun. You should both go into like a party planning.
I know.
That should be your next site. Yeah, your next project.
Honestly, we had so much fun doing it. I was like, maybe we should do it. We'll call it like my super sweet events. But no,
yes,
I'm gonna do it.
Oh my God, trademark that. That's great. Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's so cool. Let's chat a little bit about Exiled. So 2 years after my Super Sweet 16, I think MTV reached out to you, Dawn, about having Cher on Exiled, which was where the Sweet 16ers would go to a remote country or a remote place in a country and live amongst their people. You were in Panama. What were your first thoughts when you were approached for the show?
When they called me on the phone to tell me that they want to have Cher, I understood because, she was loved by the fans. Everyone loved her. And I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity for her because she was going off to college anyway, and it was going to be on her own. So it would be a learning experience of how to be on your own and survive on your own. And life is about making memories and having experiences and learning from them. So I said, why not?
Yeah, that's so cool.
But I wasn't allowed to tell her until the camera crew was here, the production crew was here, and I had to tell her then. And that was the hardest part, is to keep this from her, that she's going to be shipped off to some remote place and have to live amongst the tribes.
Yeah, and imagine my surprise. I come in and there's like TV crew like everywhere, lights in the house, and I'm like, what is going on? And I had seen the show prior, Exiled, but I never thought they would pick me to be on it because MTV had given this like MTV's Best Friend Award, like my Super Sweet 16 Best Friend Award, and like I received that. People would vote on like who they'd want to be most likely to be best friends with or who's the nicest, and I won like a few of those awards, and so I never thought I would be like exiled. And so when they were there, I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? But honestly, at first I was very like unsure if this was something that I would want to do. I mean, going and living with a tribe, not knowing anybody, they didn't speak English, you have no idea if it's gonna be hot or cold or anything. But after doing it, it was honestly probably one of the best experiences of my life, and life-changing as well.
Yeah, because again, I saw on your YouTube channel, you were talking about how you still even keep in touch with some of them. Like that is so wild. Yeah. Like I just love, it's just so cool that you had an experience like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it taught me so much and just really shaped me, having to live in those conditions, and the people were just so kind and happy, and I really learned a lot from them. And yeah, that was just such an amazing experience.
So in between my Super Sweet 16 and Exiled, did you think about like continuing and like pursuing a TV career, or you just went back to school?
Yeah,
you were going to college and it just kind of fell into your lap?
Yeah, honestly, like I enjoyed doing things in front of the camera, but I was going to college. Like I did MTV Super Sweet 16 and then Exiled, which I wasn't able to like sign up for anything. My mom kind of signed me up. And then after that, I started college right away. And on the last night of Exiled, I had to get henna tattoos all over my body from head to toe. And that kind of initiated me into the tribe. And I then became like an Embera tribe woman. And I started my first week of college with henna tattoos all over me. And I remember people looking at me like, who is this girl like covered in henna tattoos, literally all over my body. And so, no, I was going to college. I went to college. I became a registered nurse. I was a professional cheerleader. I got married, living with my husband. And then after that, this next opportunity came about. But, it wasn't really the plan, but we've enjoyed the ride for sure.
Nice. So let's talk about Smothered, the TLC show that you are both on currently. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about like what the premise of Smothered is?
Yeah, sure. Smothered is about mother and daughter relationships who are usually more over the top, extremely, extremely close relationships. When my mom and I applied for the show, they were casting for mothers and daughters who were just best friends. My mom and I got put on the show, cast on the show before we even knew it was going to be called Smothered. So when the show came out, we're like, oh my gosh, what did we sign up for? Because my mom and I always thought our relationship was normal, just super best friendly. Now we're learning it's not so normal. It's just very over the
to
top.
us, it's normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just very over the top. But it's about over the top mother-daughter relationships, and it's very interesting. You get to see a lot of different and unique relationships, and it's been really fun.
Yeah. Was there a difference between filming with MTV and filming with TLC?
Back when it was MTV, it was different because reality TV was kind of just starting. So they filmed a lot longer time span for a very short episode versus TLC. They kind of shoot a little here, a little there. It's not like a long time, I would say. But, something interesting about Smothered is that the mothers and daughter relationships that we see, we've actually never met any of them, and I always would love to meet them. I get to watch, and it's so much fun. With MTV, we actually were on, it was MTV's Giveaway Sweet 16, and I got to host that, and it was someone else was getting a giveaway Sweet 16, and we hosted it, and we got to meet some of the other Sweet 16ers, and I still keep up with them to this day. And we actually had one of the Sweet 16ers on our Chattermouth podcast, and we're actually coming out with that episode in 2 weeks, and we got to talk all about Sweet 16, and it was so interesting to hear her perspective on the show versus mine, because we had totally different experiences being on MTV. So it was very interesting to see how one filming experience could be so different from another.
Oh, I'm excited. And this episode will air in 2 weeks. So check it out. It's probably already out when this one comes out. So that's very cool. So you talked a little bit, both of you, about good communication and being non-judgmental, but do you have any other advice or kind of secrets to your close mother-daughter relationship?
I think you really need to hear each other, not just listen, but really hear what the other one has to say. I think that's very important. And also not to be selfish, be selfless, really give your all and communicate, of course, communicate, very important.
I would say something that my mom does that I really love is that she's my mom, but she's also my best friend. And some people say you can't be best friends with your mom, but I feel like, why not? I still respect my mom as a mom, but I also will come to her as my best friend. And I think that's something that a lot of people should try to do, because who can you trust more than, the person who's seen you at your worst, been there for you at your best. So
yeah, that's really interesting. So when you say you're respecting your mom as your mom, did you ever feel like when you were younger, we're friends, so why are you telling me you can't? Telling me I can't do this, or something like that?
That's a great question. I feel like we became even closer, more on that best friend level when I became an adult. Even when I was younger, my mom wasn't going out partying with me. I still had rules that I had to do. I still had to be home. I still had a curfew. I still had to respect her and listen to her. She was my best friend in the sense where I knew she'd be there for me no matter what. But I still had to respect her as a mom. There was that fine line and that balance. And I think that is definitely an important point that you brought up, that, mothers and daughters need, because they need to respect you in order to really hear you and to listen to you.
That's why you really have to wear different hats, and like Cher was saying, it really is a fine line because, during her teenage years, those are hard years to get through, I think, for a lot of mothers. And, you have to still be a mom, and you need to explain to her when she's doing something that maybe you're not happy with and make her understand it also.
I love, like, everything you're sharing is, I think, right on point. Like, to explain yourself so there's no miscommunication, and have those boundaries of still mother-daughter, but grounded in respect and stuff. I love that.
Definitely.
Okay, I have 2 more questions before we get to our weekly segments, just because I'm done. These are more just for me. I guess one's not really a question per se, but, like, again, I watched your content, like all of your content on your YouTube channel, listened to the pod, watched some clips from Smothered, and I just feel like you two have really stayed really grounded, and like, you still have a really open and honest personas. Do you have any, I guess not advice, but do you know, kind of like what keeps you grounded even throughout this, TV experience?
Oh, well, thank you so much for saying that.
It's true. It really is true. Like, I would not say that if I didn't believe it. Obviously, you just, nowadays, you see so many people on reality TV, and not, like, this has been, the last kind of like 15 years of your lives. And I just feel like it maybe is sometimes harder to stay grounded, but I really see that shining through your appearances and your podcasts and stuff like that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. It's interesting. People sometimes will say, they're like, you're too positive, or you guys smile too much. And I'm like, you should never, like, smile too much, right? Where I always think about, like, I feel really lucky to have people who care or who are interested in our lives, and I feel lucky for that. And I sometimes I'll get messages on Instagram, and they'll be like, I saw you at Walmart, but I was too scared to say hi. And I'm like, please say hi next time. Like, I want to meet you. And I love, meeting the people who have, watched us during these crazy times. And
we always hope other mothers and daughters have bonds. We even wrote a book, A Bond That Lasts Forever, to show other mothers and daughters that, you can have a relationship with each other, and it's not, crazy, or it's wonderful. And in the book, we teach them, like, what we went through and how we got this close, and how they can get that close too.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I'm assuming it hasn't always been this way or this easy.
Right. No.
Right. We go through different phases. I mean, we're normal. We do fight. We do have arguments.
And you asked how we stay grounded, but just because we're on TV doesn't make us any better than anybody else at all. In fact, we go through so much criticism just for being on a show. And so I think you can't help but kind of take a step back and be like, whoa, like, so there's a lot of highs and a lot of lows that come along with being on TV and being on a reality show. But it's been great. And, we love meeting and connecting with other mothers and daughters and being able to share our life. And, we're excited to have a book, and now to have this podcast where we can, really communicate on a whole other level and just really try to let people see the real us and who we are. And so it's been a great experience, though.
Good. I'm glad. Before we move on to the weekly segments, I have to ask, because skincare comes up so much on RTBP. Like, we're big skincare heads.
Us
really,
too.
Really big.
That's right up my alley.
Yes. So, what is your biggest skincare secret? And what do you suggest for people like you two, again, 32 and 61, I believe? Like, what do you suggest for both of those age groups? Because I feel like at different times in your lives, you need different things.
Well, I'll start here because this is right up my alley.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Mom, I'll let you take this away.
Yes. I think you should start young, number one. I think you should start as young as you can. In your 20s, you should start taking care of your skin. And by what I mean by that is stay out of the sun. I know the sun is pretty when you have the tan for the big 1 week. But later, you have to think of the future. It's very, very bad for the skin. It's bad for wrinkles. It's bad for skin cancer. There's nothing good that comes from sun. So I would say stay out of the sun and start young. Don't wait. And then I would say drink plenty of water to cleanse the skin, and that you could do at any age. And if you're not pregnant or planning to get pregnant, I would say use Retina A and start that young too, because Retina A to me is the gold of skincare, to keep the skin doing well.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Yeah. A retina A. I think in Canada we just call
retinoids.
You have like
calling it the retinoids.
Yeah, retinoids. Yeah. Because I know there's a few different names like tretinoin and stuff like that. But
that's it. Yes.
Yeah. I think if you go to a dermatologist or a GP, you can get a prescription for medical grade
the retinoids.
Retinoids. Yeah. Okay, I love that.
Yes, and also when you're taking care of your skin, also take care of your neck. Not just the face. Go down to the neck.
Yeah. I saw a picture of someone who had just been putting sunscreen, like older woman who had just been putting sunscreen on her face and not her neck, and the difference, and it scared me.
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm really putting it on my neck and on the top of my hands.
Yes.
Doing my.
Your skin looks very good.
Yeah, you have beautiful skin.
Thank you.
You do.
I'm working hard
That's
on it.
awesome. The vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, also very good.
Yep.
Yes.
So good. And did you find your skincare changed between 30 and 60, or do you think you relatively, stayed the same for the last handful of years?
Well, I'm always looking into new products, to use on the skin. But I pretty much always use the Retina A, and now I use the vitamin C and the hyaluronic acid. So I use that too.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. I feel like we're all on the same page. If I could look like an ounce like you at 61, I'll know I put my time in. So that's what I'm aiming for.
Well, it takes work.
Literally.
And you got to start young.
Yeah, the consistency is so important. Yeah. Which is like a good reminder because I've been a little less consistent this week. I'm going to get back on the stick tonight. Okay, we're at the part of the show where our two guests are going to name a Pettyweight Champion of the Week, someone in the media who did something petty and it was iconic. Let's start with you, Cher. Who are you nominating?
Right. Should I tell you the whole story of why?
Yes,
okay, so I'm nominating Enrique Iglesias because I don't know if you heard about this, but he shocked fans when he kissed one of his concert goers. He was posing for photos at a meet and greet with a fan, and the fan, he was kissing the fan on the cheek, and then she turned her head and started kissing him, and then he continued kissing back, and he started moving his hands towards her back. But things took a twist, though, because he's actually been in a relationship with Anna Kournikova for the past 20 years. So fans were torn because some were like, I'm so jealous that this concert goer got to make out with him basically at a meet and greet. And other fans are mad because they're like, he should not be kissing anyone else because he's in a relationship. Doesn't matter if it's a fan. Like, no. So definitely my nomination of the week.
That's so funny. I haven't seen that, but I can't wait to Google it
Literally,
once we're done recording.
It's all over TikTok. Like, it's crazy. I keep seeing it. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's crazy. He was just kissing her cheek and he just turned his head and like, or she turns her head and she just starts like kissing him and he's like, whoa. But he's in a relationship.
That's wild.
But it's gone viral.
Yeah, that's why I see. And he is so private about his, I don't even know if they're married, but his long-term partner.
Right. They've been together 20 years. I think they have kids together. They're not married, though, but she like took his last name on social media. So they're official. Oh, yeah. So he shouldn't be kissing anyone, in my opinion.
No, not at all.
It was weird.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
But other people are just super jealous of it. So I don't know.
I get that. That's like once in a lifetime. But that seems super weird because he has a partner and kids.
Definitely look it up on TikTok. It was interesting.
I cannot wait. And Dawn, who would you like to nominate?
Well, I think Leonardo DiCaprio. Because I hear, he's 47 years old and he dates only girls under 25 years old. And now he was rumored seeing with a girl, a model, Gigi Hadid, who's 27. So that's like a big thing right now.
Okay, that's so perfect. And you're right, that's so petty. He's like, you were talking about how I'm dating 25-year-olds. I'll date a 27-year-old.
It's so funny. People call themselves Leo-sexuals. Did you hear this? If they only will date someone like, very young, Leo-sexual.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, that's a perfect nomination. And curious to see where that relationship goes because they were spotted in New York Fashion Week and maybe she'll show up on his yacht in a hot minute.
What will happen when she turns 28?
I don't know.
Good question. Only time will tell. Okay, it's finally time for This Week in Petty, where our guests are going to share a story about something that happened to them in their real lives that they're petty about. This time, let's start with Dawn. What are you petty about this week?
Okay. So first, you have to understand that Cher and I always speak every night before she goes to bed. She says goodnight to me, and she'll text me goodnight. So when she was away in school, I always wait for that text before I could actually fall asleep at night. So one night, I'm waiting by my phone, and I don't get a text. And it's 1:00 and it's 1:30. So then I call her like, hello, are you back in your room? I don't hear anything. I don't hear a text. Oh, how's it going? I'm just texting her. And then 2:00 comes. I don't hear anything. I'm pacing the floor in my house. I'm like so nervous. I don't know what's going on. 3:00 comes. I still don't hear anything. And I'm texting her, hello, are you there? Are you okay? Just text me you're okay. And I'm okay. 3:30 comes, nothing. 4:00 comes and I'm saying, I can't take this anymore. I'm pacing the floors. I say to my husband, I'm going to drive 2.5 hours to the University of Florida. And I'm going to see if she's okay because time is of essence. So I jump in my car at 4:00 in the morning and I'm driving as fast as I can. Where's a cop when you want one? Of course, nowhere. I wanted a cop to stop me, to escort me there. And then I had to go to the bathroom so badly, but nothing's open and I'm not going to stop. So I finally get to the dorm and I screaming, Cher, Cher, and I knock at the door, Cher, Cher. And she opens up the door and she goes, Mom, what's wrong? I go,
I thought someone died.
I didn't know whether to kill her or to kiss her. I was so happy she was okay. I said, you didn't text me. You didn't call me that you were back in your room.
That's so funny.
terrible.
That's so. Do you remember like what was?
Oh my god!
I'm sure you remember. We're just studying or out
No,
at
I
a
just like
party or
was
something
watching a movie and fell asleep. It like wasn't a big deal. And she shows up screaming, Cher. I literally thought someone died. I'm like, who died? I started bawling. I thought someone was dead. And she's like, you didn't text me. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Always text her
That's-
back.
Yes.
That's so funny. Yeah. That's so funny. I feel like
I watched.
Oh, go ahead.
I watched too many of those criminal shows. You know,
Yes.
I go into my head.
Yeah. No, I get that. And when your kid's away at college and out of the house and stuff like that, it's scary.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah, my mom says the same thing when I lived at home, and she was like, I won't fall asleep until I hear, your footsteps in the room above.
So you get it.
Yes, I get it. Yes. Okay, and Cher, what are you petty about this week?
Okay, so my husband and I, didn't happen this week, but recently, my husband and I, good. So so my husband and I were recently traveling to Thailand, and it was such a wonderful experience, but we had to take a tuk-tuk, which is like one of their little taxis to, we wanted to go to a Thai temple. So we get in the tuk-tuk and we tell the guy where to go, and we notice he's going the totally wrong way. So my husband tells him, and he's like, hey, you're going the wrong way and you need to go the other way. And the guy got so mad that my husband was like telling him where to go. He took us back to where we started. So we're like, okay, like you're just dropping us back where we started. So we get off and we are like, all right, then we're leaving, because he's like, get out. And so we get out, we start walking away, and he's like, you need to pay me. And we're like, why are we paying you? Because you literally just dropped us back off where we started. And he started to he was like, F you. And so we decided to leave. We're like, this is getting scary. And he started literally following us throughout the whole bazaar, which was this big little festival, just following us the whole way. So I feel like he was really the petty one, but I was petty because I'm like, he dropped us back off he dropped us back off in the same place and still wanted us to pay him. I just couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
So who's in the wrong here? I feel like he definitely was, but I don't know. I was really upset because I'm like, this ruined our night. Now we can't go to the place we wanted to go to.
And it's tough because you never found out why he was taking you in the opposite direction.
No, I don't know what that was about, and why you drop us back off in the same place and still request payment.
My goodness. Yeah, it's tough sometimes when you're in a place and you're like, I don't speak the language. And it's good to check though, because sometimes I'm always a little nervous when you're traveling that if you're going in the right direction.
Yeah. No, it is. It's scary. Definitely a little scary.
Dawn, do you think the tuk-tuk driver or your daughter was the petty one in this situation?
Well, I think that the tuk-tuk driver shouldn't have asked for money when he was bringing her right back to the right place. He didn't doing anything.
I hope everyone agrees with me, because I feel like he didn't take me where I wanted to go and just drop me back off.
Yes.
I mean, she would have paid if he took her where she wanted to go.
Of course.
Gladly paid, but dropping me back off where I started does not require payment, in my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, not at all. But it is fun when sometimes we have people share, and then we'll do a poll on our Instagram or something, and they'll weigh in.
No, I'm totally curious.
I'm going traveling this week, and I'm, you just get the nerves of miscommunications and lost directions. And
where are you going?
You just don't want to look like the person. Yes. I'm going to Germany and Austria.
Oh, how nice.
So cool. Take me with you. That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
What are you,
I'm really excited.
To travel for fun?
Yeah, for Oktoberfest.
Cool. I've been
to
before,
visit some
and
family.
it was so
Oh,
fun.
really?
Yes. Actually, crazy story. So I went to Oktoberfest, and right before I went to a psychic, and she told me that I was going to be going to Europe, and I had no plans to go to Europe. This was like months earlier. She's like, "You're going to Europe in October." And I was like, "I'm not going." And then a week before Oktoberfest, my brother's like, "Hey, do you want to come to Oktoberfest?" And my husband and I were like, "Yeah, let's go." And so we went, and then I was like going through papers when I came home, and I found this old paper from this psychic that said like Europe October. And I was like, wow.
I love that. I love that type of stuff. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Very cool. This was so much fun. Thank you both for spending the last hour with me. I super appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. It was wonderful.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. Can you share with the listeners where they can find you on social media and anything else you want to plug?
Definitely. Well, you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at Cher Hubsher, and you can follow my mom on Instagram at Dawn.Hubsher and TikTok at Dawn Hubsher. And you can follow our podcast. It's called Chattermouth Podcast. You can go to chattermouthpodcast.com for more information, or check out our book at abondthatlastforever.com. And follow us on YouTube as well. My mom and I do some, our fun daily rituals. Just look up Cher Hubsher or Dawn Hubsher and it'll come up. So thank you so much. This was so much fun.
It was fun.
Thank you. I'm so glad. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Cher and Dawn who joined me on today's episode. If you are looking for more RTBP content, you can find it over at patreon.com. By the time this episode comes out, there should be already 2 episodes there, access to our Discord channel, and more. So if you're looking for more content, more community, join us at patreon.com/RTBP podcast. I hope you are safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Torry, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.